So the focus on today's meeting is really not, it's not so much about what we used to do, but so much about you telling us what you think about the project, how the project, the direction so far, and how, what you think about it. How do we improve it? What do we need to tweak? What do we need to, where do we direct it to? Of course, we are all in this game together. We know about the Nigerian context. We know about the African scholarly context. We understand the global dynamics of music scholarship today and the role that Nigeria should play in that conversation. So this is why we are here today. Of course, in the mood of celebration. It's a year, and we are happy to come back to you, our community, to also have what we call more like a town hall meeting to discuss. In the last 1 year, okay, we have done this, we have done that. So for the future, to reflect on the future and what kind of movement, initiative, direction you think this kind of initiative should go. In other words, it's a moment of appraisal. It's a moment of feedback from you. It's a moment of opening for us. One thing about research and any scholarly activities is it is always shaped by reflexive moments like this, and it is this reflexive moment that actually open doors, for learning, transformation, development, or any forms of growth that we experience. It is moments like this where we open to you. We have done this work with you in the last 1 year, but today we are coming back to you, asking you what is the direction compared to what is the future direction, what we have done in the last 1 year. So that is a context for today. And again, I am very, very happy, to sit here today, particularly with the team at the Organized Conference and Seminar Series and the team that have shaped this initiative, in the last 1 year. Some of them I have some of them, and some of them are online, and some of them are on other assignments. Definitely we'll get there shortly as we introduce ourselves, what we do, and other important information that are quite important for this communication. But in all, the idea today is to reflect on this process. What does it mean for for Department of Music at Mountaintop University? The Organized Conference and Seminar Series is not a one-man show. Yeah, it is a project of the Department of Music at the Mountaintop University. And by that reasoning, it is shaped by collective understanding, professionalism, approaches, and hence on many occasions you've seen us changing our batting here and there. Also, apart from the scholarly contribution, we also have technological team who has been on this process, helping us navigate spaces. While we sit here at the organ house, we are in conversation with our friends, colleagues, professional friends in the US, in Europe, across Africa, and beyond. This cannot be done by one. Like Yoruba we say, one person does not answer, we've arrived. It's always in plural. So hence we are here to reflect also on this collaboration with the department and working together on a project like this. What does it mean, to do this in contemporary Nigeria and Africa? So to start with, I'm happy to welcome our team members, researchers, scholars. So I'm going to start from my, from the right. Okay, let's go from the left. This is my left. Yeah, I'm going to invite Dr. Chuckwu to introduce himself. Okay, and yes, so let's start with Dr. Chuckwu. Of course, they know you, but at least let's go.
Thank you very much, viewers. My name is Victor Chuckwu, and I'm a researcher. I studied music theory and composition with Professor Stephen Walusoji, and I work at Organ House here, and then part of this Organ House seminar series. My area of specialization is theory and composition, and with special interest in music analysis, African music analysis, and how complex interplay of culture and music in African society.
Thank you so much. As we progress in this, this community conversation today, you are still going to hear more from Dr. Chuckwu, particularly in relation to most of the initiatives of the presentations he had anchored on this particular project in the last 1 year, and fleshing out the few points directing us in this reflexive moment. Also, by my right now, can we have our brother Mr. Olaore? Thank you.
Adedamola Olaore is my name. I'm very happy to be a part of this team. It's been a very interesting experience since we started, and I also studied theory and composition, but my own focus is with specifications on choral analysis, choral works, and voice training. I have been a choir boy all my life, and then right now I more or less work around training voices, conducting choruses, analyzing choral pieces. So basically that's my main focus, and that's what I've been doing. But in this context, the scholarly homework of the organelles presenting this concept and seminar series, it's been a learning process for us as well, not just what we come with, but when we bring our resource people into the picture, it's been very interesting hearing their own point of view, listening to them come with, thinking outside the box and enlightening us together. So playing host is not just about knowing everything, it's about actually listening as well and learning in the process. And that's what it has been for me over time. So this celebration of 1 year is a celebration of learning, exposure, and a lot of interesting interaction with scholars and colleagues over here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Olaore. Well, we have other team members. Some of them are on other assignments, but I like to also, while they are not here, I will just, I'm sure some of you know them already, but I'll still take time to just say one or two things about each of in-house core, members for this project. I think the first person in this context is the HOD of the department, in person of Dr. Bayo Ogunyemi. I would say Oyemi. So Bayo is the HOD department, and he has been very supportive of us in this commencement of this initiative, and also been a core component of this project. And on many occasions, some of us have seen him, anchor, hosting or curating ideas on this platform. So Dr. Bayo is not visibly, is not present physically because he's on his way from, he went to the national conference, the ANIM conference, and he will probably join us online, but he's actually with us another way, but he join us shortly. So this is just to tell you that Dr. Bayo has been played a crucial role in this process, and we thank him for his expertise, professionalism in this process. Then the other person is Mr. Michael Osanebi. Mr. Michael Osanebi is a member of faculty here at the Mountain Top University Department of Music. He has been also very supportive, hosting sessions, contributing, and yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, this is a teamwork. So we need to let everyone know. So, and that is one of the important things for us to show that a project like this is shaped by different expertise and concerns, emotion and sentiment and professionalism also. So thanks to Mr. Michael Osanebi. Hopefully will join us also shortly. He's also busy with other official assignments, but it's important to let you know that Mr. Osanebi is well appreciated, and he has contributed a lot to this process also. So Mr. Osanebi, thank you so much, and for, of course, if you join us. Then there's another important component of this process, which I am happy to say that he wears many caps, but unfortunately you have not seen him sit, you haven't seen him, on this seat, and I'm not sure you've seen him here, because if he sits here, then nobody's going to connect to us. You won't have the opportunity to even be where you are. So he's the one that's behind the machine that connects you, that brings you to this platform. He's the one that brings you here. He's the one that connects all the infrastructure. So we can say he's the one that brings all the pieces and pieces of what we have done. He rates them with modern technology. So I'm talking about personal. Mr. Michael Adedamola. We call him Mr. Doyin, of course. So Mr. Doyin has been it's a crucial component of this from day one, of this initiative. And we thank him for his relentless efforts, to keep us going. Without him, I am not sure we can, Of course, we'll do it, but we do it in another way. But the point is that Mr. Doyin has been very, 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 very crucial in this process, helping us getting this and that, while we are busy doing the critical work, getting the research done. He's the one curating and bringing us to you, he's the mediator in this process. So thank you so much, Mr. Doyin. Mr. Doyin is also not, like I mentioned, you can't see him now because, you can see all of you, but you can't see him. And that is what, that's the significance of his contribution, to this project. So thank you so much, Mr. Michael Adedamola. Thank you so much. Then, of course, the department as a whole is not also run by just scholars and people. We also have students. We have students, we have staff members, we have, even across the community, those in one way or the other have inspired one idea or the others. So first of all, I would like to thank the students of Mountain Top University, and I'll start from the undergraduate student component arm of the department. So perhaps you might not know, of course, they are currently on break, summer break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the school is currently on is yearly, transition from one academic year to the other. I think this academic year starts next month, right? Yeah, so, but I'd like to let you know that these students are also having important in this process. They are core to this process also. Yes, they might not that you have, of course, you have seen them since the beginning of this project, either performing one role as a performer, as a choir, as this, of course. But even seeing them around has its own intellectual process. They stimulate ideas. Someone might just a mere conversation with them sometimes, spark some, initiative. So we thank them so much for their for this contribution also. They are quite important. In fact, primarily, they are the context for this kind of work, because what we are doing, like you all know, is we are documenting. It's a research project that goes back into the learning process, and that's how it is across the world. Then the other layer is the graduate program at MTU. The graduate program at Mountain Top University, as you know, started recently, and it has evolved, beyond our own understanding into in a positive sense. We currently have up to 6 or 7 graduate students, 3 PhDs, 3 masters, and 1 postgraduate, student, diploma student. So, and they are doing quite well. But most importantly, these students have also been part of the networking, the running, administrative part of this project. For instance, our posters are managed, the communication, the circulations of this project. There's a department, their own department is quite unique because it's also part of their own learning process, how to organize, curatorial process, it's also part of their learning process. But the important thing is that the poster design, they handle that. They are the lab is handling the poster design, the circulation, social media management, posting here and there. You see, sometimes you've seen some of our flyers on Facebook, on Twitter. They are the one doing it. And it is part of the project also for them to learn in this sense. So it's a learning process. So we thank them so much, particularly Mr. Prince Tony Ademola has been quite, significant in terms of helping us drive the creative process, drafting posters, initiating new ideas. And Mrs. Tokwe Obalade is quite, and Mr. Thompson Adegoke. So thanks so much to these PhD students. They've been very, very, very helpful. So thank you so much in that sense. So I would quickly like to move to the next stage, which then we can't mention everybody, of course, but this next stage is quite important. But to even start with, let's go to the managerial board, which I will come back to later. Of course, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Elijah Ayolabi, the Vice Chancellor of Mountain Top University, from day one has been very supportive. From the Vice Chancellor down to the Dean, to the Bossa, every unit of the department. So we thank them. We thank them so much for supporting this wonderful initiative. And as we speak here, there's also a kind of intra-departmental collaboration with the media. As we speak here, I have a brother with us who is also from the media department, Mr. Toby, who has been working with us also as part of our recording, different. So this is to show you that this project is seated within a universe of ideas and intersection of people, different emotions. So thank you, everyone. So let's move to the next one quickly, which is the reflection moment. Yeah, reflexive moment. Yeah, and in doing, I will briefly give a kind of general outline of what we have done, not in a detailed sense, of course, not in a detailed format as we want to do it because of time, but I will just want to give a kind of brief outline and invite our scholars here to, say one or few things on a specific section, then we'll move to the next one. So the first one I would like to say in this context is the overview. As you know, we started this project August 2023 with a project called something around African pianism, which was a more like an official opening or luncheon of Mr. Tolu Shoun Owoaje's African piano or folklore, a kind of piano arrangement of folklore, so we started from that African pianistic approach, and we moved into different, process, moving from academic into administrative, into financial issue around funding. Then we move also into a new idea, early this year, we called it A Music and AI. And that took us that's actually opened us to a different experimental processes. And we are happy that it also shows, we learned a lot, how to work with people who are not academia, who are not in the academia, those whose work are in the profession. For instance, we've been able to engage big voices, influential voices, including Mr. Ayobankole Jr., Dr. Tunde Adegbola. It was an interesting moment with him, opening us to different layers, So thanks so much for these people. But what's important in their contribution is that they show us, how to think about what we have and also how to take advantage of what we have. So, and central to this advantage and thinking is the issues of digital technology and even the primary or classic idea of technology. We moved from that section. We went into education, applying the same method into education. And we have our great scholars, producer, and educator, of course, Mr. Korede Omokwelu. He came in, and gave us two, influential sessions, very, very impactful session, where he, taking us into not just talking about education, but also taking us into the technical process of what should a musical process in terms of learning, in terms of infrastructure and planning should be in 21st century. And I remember clearly, and I'm happy that the first session was more on introduction, and the second section, we went into practical details, including showing us how to set up online learning space. Google, I remember clearly, which is the most popular one, which he used, and others, including Google Classroom. So these resources are all on our website, of course. I will share that shortly. You can always go there to learn and to visit this material and engage them further for your research and personal use. Then we moved from that session up to also, then we went into another processes, which is what we call the documentation and digitization of Nigerian music, particularly sacred music, in the last 100 years. And as part of that, we've had scholars like Dr. Tolu Owaje also hosting, having given us two important sections on what we call the Yoruba native head and how this idea constitutes documentation, or how it can be shaped, it speaks to the idea of documentation. Then we continue from that, we work intersection of dialogue and presentation. Then we also have our first civic engagement, what we call, public facing work or applied musicology. So we had our major concert, exploring the works composition of Dr. Daniel Olukoya. Of course, that was in April, and we moved from that, to other layers, which, as we all know, we have moved from ideas of creative work, artistic work, but there's an important, presentation which we are yet to upload, and which has been very critical even to our conversation in the last 1 year. And that is Dr. Olora's presentation, particularly that question that it is only Africa that goes to the global market empty-handed. Of course, some of you might say this is controversial. Of course, we are not denying that. And if it's not controversial, who cares if it's not controversial? It needs to be controversial and strong, particularly from that scholarly perspective, for it to generate its value. And this particular perspective from that particular presentation has shaping a lot, direction of how we think about what we do in the first place, and how we think about approaching ideas, and how we create a project on this platform. I will get back to Dr. Lawrence shortly. Of course, I'll get back to his work and other things. But quickly, I want to pass the baton to Dr. Chuckwu, then later to Mr. Olaore.
Generally, it's been very enlightening for me, very educative, very exposing, and we've had a lot of interesting suggestions too from our contributors, our followers who come around to give us a different point of view from what we are thinking, and that made it more robust. So it's been a very interesting experience.
Wow. Thanks so much, Mr. Olaore. Yeah, thank you. And so, yes, I need to add two, layers to this important overview or reflection. I'll start with the recent one by Professor Ayorinde Samuel. I can say from my own perspective or opinion that conversation, particularly that notion of theorization, is quite, not just it wasn't the usual academic conversation that we see around, So theorization in terms of African traditional knowledge system was quite at another level, in terms of theorization, explicitness, and, down on the point and addressing some things that are quite ambiguous, but in a way that they look similarly, free and easy. So Dr. Ayorinde Samuel, actually, I found that presentation very, it was a provocative presentation, in the sense that it was so nuanced that you can't even think this is one of those projects or what we the elephant in the house, not the colonization. But that's exactly what he was talking about. But you can't tell because the way he calibrated the ideas, presented it, and opened us for conversation. So those, for me, this is just one of the moments, those peak moments, which I myself, I had to sit down and reflect. Okay, what is this idea of indigenous African system? What does it mean for us? Because these ideas themselves are also not, they are not stagnant like that. And I think they had that time, and that's what they are right now, and we should do it with 1875. Of course, indigenous, like I said the other day, is also expanding, is fluid, particularly in contemporary times. Thank you all for your consistency, encouraging us on a weekly basis here. I also want to talk about one other presentation, which in most cases might just slip under, we might just get carried away and not mentioning them. And these are the conversations that actually align us or connect us to our sister disciplines or related disciplines like theater, drama, film. So I'm talking about, we've had two conversations in terms of film, things that relate to Nollywood, film, global, local, theater, and, we have 3 or 4 now. And 2 of them are quite, 4 of them. So the first 2 includes, features one of our brother, Maestro, Ayo Ajayi. So I remember the first one was more like a kind of a combat between him and one of the Nollywood veterans, the person of Steve Ozezwa. Then the second one, he came back and gave us a stellar performance on analyzing, understanding the genres of film music, music theater, and how music speaks to music drama and Nollywood. That was, I think that was a stellar performance, and I'm looking forward to also his publication or making something out of that presentation so we can further engage. We can't just stop like that. That was so massive, and and very, very, I find it very interesting. So thank you so much for all this. And of course, recently we have, fortunately for us, we didn't even know that he has actually reproduced himself in the industry. Of course, Mr. Kenny Oretime, who has been around. But recently we hosted Oretime also, and we got to know that the initial presentation of Mr. Ayo Ajayi has produced something, in terms. So we got to know that he was the one who actually influenced our Kenny Oretime of today, who, with no doubt, has also contributed significantly to the, industry in terms of composition, visibility, and the promotion of what we now know as modern Nigerian musical theater, particularly in relation to the recent emergence around Kakadu and B.A.B. Bolanle Austin Peters production. So thank you guys so much for bringing us, connecting us to that layer, Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Yeah. So
you appreciate the trajectory you're taking it.
Yeah.
Some of the experience also brought us some very salient points to the fore.
Okay.
When we're talking about hustling with the PP.
PP, yeah.
We just say it and we don't really bring it to the fore. Like, but when the gentleman came, started doing Ezekiel, he really built it up and made us appreciate the fact that it's a very integral part of our day-to-day roles as professionals in the system. So PP was a good one with Ezekiel.
Definitely. And one other point to the PP thing is, after that particular presentation, I was also thinking of, okay, I think we have a lot to do also in terms of future agenda now, to engage teachers at local levels, particularly those who engage in studio teaching across homes. What are their mentors even? And particularly those who engage at the modern school, the international school, some of them have music as a compulsory subject, although for business, of course.
Some of those big schools in Lagos now and some other major cities in Nigeria, they're passing some music, and they attract some parents that are interested in many times moving their children abroad, because I had that experience, that the first experience I had by school of a child, that the mother had decided that he should have his secondary school abroad, and he's already in GS2 and SS class, senior secondary over there. So he went there to make inquiries before making choice of subjects on before 300. I mean, on year 3, you choose some subject, you be writing junior WAEC. So over there, abroad, I told her that your child must have music if you want us to give her. He's not coming there to study music, but to enter that school, he must have music. So now, and the school where the child is at the island, they were not having music at all. So that was how you moved the child first till 300. I mean, yes, third year in primary school, and they were the same PP is what we used to upgrade the boy.
Wow.
So gradually he came up, before they had a mock something, he came up with a good grade. And then with that, he prepared for junior WAEC. So those are the things that attract some parents to those schools, and why they spend so much. In fact, in those schools, the music teachers are always, other teachers envy them because they are the only one having a separate office. So that was their office is the classroom. And then you have a nice office. And then the AC is connected to administrator's phone because they don't want to disturb others. So as a result, the glasses must be closed.
Wow.
So whether if they're using Gen or whatever they are using, that music room must be powered. So with that, the envy events is actually a way to go. Yes.
Thank you so much. Of course, we've had in the last 1 year, since last year, we've had more than 40 presentations altogether. Yeah, we currently have 27 of these presentations online on our YouTube page, which I just dropped on the general chat right now. You can click and follow us and see most of the recordings we have there. But we've had more than that. We have at least we have more than 40 recordings, and we've uploaded, in terms of our digital process, 27 of them online. So 2 more points in terms of presentation, then we'll open it up to our colleagues and friends online as to, again, perhaps some of us are joining us newly. The essence of today is a community meeting where we are opening to you, more like accountability session, appraisal session. We tell you, okay, this is what we think about this process, particularly being specific from one to the other, and picking few examples and talking about them and opening to you, this is what we have done. Then we want to hear from you. What do you think in terms of future of a project like this, in terms of Nigeria, Africa, and the global visibility of the product of academic standard from Nigeria? So this is what we are doing today. It's opening to you. We want to hear from you. You've seen us, you've seen what we do. So are there other ways of doing something like this? What do you think about it? Is there any way we can? Your suggestion is quite important. And also, we are open to critical, again, it's a critical space. And that's how we have developed to where we are today. We have people who have shaped this idea critically, who have called us, okay, let's see, what about this? What about this? I will get to that shortly. So I've just dropped, I will get to that. I've just dropped the YouTube link on the chat, so you can follow us. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, and of course, and X, of course, X, yeah. So you can do that. So you want to say something?
Yeah, I was still, on the line of reflecting, I was very impressed by the interest generated when we had an in-house female organist. The interest generated was quite nice, especially going by the fact that we also graduated a female organist here last session.
Yeah.
So it was a new set of interest that one generated in the process, and that's some of the high point of our experience here. People come around, and you would think this point of view is not so popular, or you'd be surprised at the followership when you raise it up. And that was one of the things that happened there. And I think I wouldn't know if we were rating this. I think we took it to a climax when we had to go leave our comfort zone to stage a proper concert at the MFM headquarters.
Yeah.
Two choirs and inviting all our colleagues from far away to that experience. I really think it was a good one, because like I said at the outset, that the performance section should also be a thing we deliberate upon.
Definitely.
When we come here with the performance, we talk about them, we analyze them, and of course, present our concepts the way we think about it, and of course, have our discussion along the line. So that one, another watershed as far as I'm concerned, when Professor Mojola was online, Dr. Lawrence was online, and some of our colleagues, and they were giving their own point of view with respect to the composition of the Lukoya. Those are very interesting experience we had here.
Definitely, I agree with you. And one other point which I am here to mention to some of our viewers is that the performance we had on 13th of April has up to 4 layers, or we can say in terms of value to scholarly discourse. The first thing is, it is under what we call civic engagement, or we call it public-facing scholarship. We can also call it artistic research. It is also a form of documentation. Then, of course, it's a performance. But in all this, what ties it together is the fact that we are approaching what is common there. Everybody can do concert, of course. We see concert every day. We go to church, we go to see. But the difference, what we are bringing on board that is new, is that we are conceptualizing common phenomena and not just leaving them at aesthetic level of just enjoyment. Oh, they played Beethoven, they played, they perform Ayorinde very well, they perform Olaore song very well. No, we are going, that's our starting point. We are now moving into what shaped this work. How did this work come to be? What is the historical dynamic? How does it tie into the current aesthetic or technical ideas around composition, Nigerian history, Nigerian politics, Nigerian, and even the idea of church and people, and ultimately socio-economic and political well-being of people in Nigeria. So that is the next level we took it to. Not just leaving it as, okay, let's just enjoy, let's play the organ, let's sing. Of course, people can do that. Either good or bad, that's another layer of conversation, which is subjective. But as scholarly community, our own take is the artistic approach to scholarship. Why we do the normal ethnomusicology, we do the normal anthropology, we do the normal whatever analysis within the in-house academic idea. We are also interested in opening to the world, to connect with professionals. We want to go to studios and meet the amapiano producers. How do you do this? Bring them here. We want to bring the biggest composers, the writers from the community. We want to bring pastors who sing, who do, composers, artists. That is what we are trying to do. It is called public-facing work. It's community work. But most importantly, it falls under what we call applied ethnomusicology or applied musicology. It means it is not just for, it's not just an academic business, definitely. And I agree with you. We need to do more of that, definitely. I know people want to say a lot about that, but definitely we'll get to that shortly. We have a privilege, in fact, to let's say the right people, we've attracted the right people, those who have the kind of things that we can see, or that shape qualitative performance, artistic, creative, or scholarly ideas. So we thank you all for all. So I think let's just open it up and we can take the other conversation from there. So let's open it up for feedback from our friends, mentors, colleagues. But before opening it up, I'll do this at the end anyway. I'll do this at the end, and that is simply around one person here who has been very, 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 impactful. Although, before you mention him, I'm sure you know him already. So he's he has been very, very impactful in terms of challenging us not to limit ourselves to what is visible, to go into the utmost inner, the depths of things to deliver. And that's, I'm sure Dr. Oluranti has been very, 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 in fact, I can say, for wherever he is always, pushing us. Okay, this is, sometimes I get a call, okay, this and this, let's do this, what about this? No, questioning, the kind of thing you see in the normal scholarly environment. Even in classroom, when people throw jabs at you, they challenge you, even on you think this idea is so marvelous. And I don't know will come and say, look, this thing, let me bust your bubble. That's what, yeah, I can count many times they have said that in class, let me bust your bubble, and you bust it indeed. So, Ayorinde, thank you so much. I'm sure we can't do this, we can't finalize it, we can't just finish this here. But the point is that we recognize that snippets, those critical moments, those challenging, those calls that you would drop and you'll be having a headache. So thank you so much. They are quite impactful, and they are part of the resources, nuances, material that shape our standard. We are intentional about everything that comes, every presenter, every artist, every material that we present here. Not intentional in terms of just want to doing things in terms of intentional in terms of the vision of this department. Excellent. Yeah. Of course, we can say that we are not yet there, but because of people like you and others, professors who have been around us, our contributors, we have been able to start negotiating that reality. So thank you so much. So you can use your mic, you can raise your hand, you can use the mic, and we'll definitely, we are happy to listen to you. Thank you so much. So who wants to go?
I hope Kolawole is in the house.
Of course, Mr. Kolawole is there.
Can't wait to listen to his constructive criticism.
Yes, of course, Mr. Kolawole is there. Mr. Kolawole, of course, is one of that, in the line of Dr. Oluranti, and in fact, he has his own word, of course. He has his own word, of course. And so much, of course, Mr. Gani Kale. Yeah, we are always intrigued, having you around, and of course, yeah, we are looking forward to those moments again, and we can't wait to have you to come and give us your presentation, what you are working on, what we'll get to that. So we are open now. Kindly unmute yourself and let us know, what do you think? What do you think we need to adjust? What do you think, okay, this and this and this? So that is the kind of moment in terms of feedback, suggestion, or it could be on a particular moment, particular presentation that you think, okay, this was done so time. Can we do it this way? Or ideas, possible ideas for the future. Okay, let's have Dr. Ayorinde. Thank you so much. Then following that, we'll have Mr. Chorale.
All right. Thank you very much.
Let's have you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Congratulations to the organ house. For 1 year of this type of scholarly engagement. If there's something that has set us back in Africa, is the fact that we don't network, we don't come together, we don't understand the concept of teamwork. We do things in isolation, and that has really drawn us back. If you look at other societies, especially in the West, there's a lot of emphasis on cross interaction, networking, and things like that. And one of the most important aspects of Western academia is the concept of weekly colloquium, weekly seminars. And in a lot of institutions, these weekly seminars, they are made compulsory for graduate students, for example. In some institutions, they have some sort of other seminars for undergraduates. And it's in this melting pot, even before we started having all this engagement. Universities spend money to bring in artists and residents, composers and residents, scholars and residents, guest speakers. They come to talk at the seminars. And then even graduate students they present their ongoing research work. And in some of these seminars, when graduate students are going for conferences, they use these seminars as the testing ground. And this is the way the industry has been structured to grow. So, and somehow, I don't know, we've not been operating at that level, especially in Nigeria. So the organ housing is the breakthrough for us. And it's happening at a time where technology is working well. You can have people at the Gaza Strip in Ukraine at the war front join the seminar, you know, and within 1 year, I've made new friends. Within 1 year, because of this seminar, I have learned a lot of new stuff, you know, and then, you know, the concept of hearing the voice of the other, which is very important, because when you live in your own world, you are just restricted to everything you have in your brain. But then when you come into this kind of seminar and you listen to people like Ayorinde talking about the big elephant in the room, Olaore Ganikale, the Dr. Odunuga talking about the problems of education, and, you know, and opening us up, you know, to all sorts of things. So congratulations. And so two things I just want to say, or maybe three things. One, please, Organ House should think of how to stabilize this program and concretize it and make sure that it runs into the future and expand it. And the second thing, building on what Olaore said, let's incorporate a lot more of the performative aspect of music. In the course of 1 year, I think you only had one performative platform, the program held at the Grace Hall. We want to have more performances, you know, so we can bring in somebody to play the piano in the studio for 10 minutes and explain stuff to us, you know, real music. Let's engage beyond all this grammar thing, which is mostly promoted by Dr. Oladele, you know. So let's have more performances. Then thirdly, when you look at this whole 1 month and 1 year, we've had a lot of this is what should happen. This is what should happen. I remember when Dr. Odunuga presented on education, it opened up all sorts of the downsides of our educational system, you know, and we talked about the ideal. You know, ordinarily we say that the university is an ivory tower, you know, we are always talking about it, but how do we transform all these beautiful and great ideas into action? You know, there was this session we had with Professor Convener as well, when we're talking about reforms in the curriculum. It will it be out of place if for this seminar series on a quarterly basis or twice in a year or one on policy and policy changes and direct this into the right quarters, you know, actualizing all the stuff. I mean, look at all the stuff Professor Kayode Samuel unleashed on us in terms of African indigenous system. It shouldn't just end there. Look at all the things Dr. Adedamola unleashed on us. You know, these are great ideas. So it shouldn't just end with all this engaging ourselves. There should be the next level of shaping the community from the things that are coming out of this seminar. If you wonder why Oxford University, Cambridge University, they get so much funding from the British government, is because the research they carry out, they are used to shape governmental policies, shape the society. You know, so they're not just doing research for fun. So I think we should find a way to bridge that gap. You know, that all these things we're archiving, how do we use these things to make the Nigerian society a better one? Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, thank you. We are noting all this and we are definitely going to act on it and create advance as you have suggested. Thank you so much. Definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, can we have Mr. Korede Omakale?
Good afternoon, everybody. And
Well,
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
I can see that Olaore is smiling. Don't worry, it's not diaspora.
Rumba, Rumba class.
It's not room. It's not Rumba Clave.
Rumba Yambo.
Yeah,
You're welcome, sir.
yes, a couple of things I would like to mention. Dr. Olorunti have said them. So I will start by saying that it is quite interesting. 1 year of this is quite good. For me, I'm sitting on the divide, which is on the practitioner aspect of it, right? I think it has given us a what we call in production a 3D ball view, right? 3D ball view of music, from both sides, right? And I think that's created an opportunity where we can hear, the grievances, the positive and negative from both sides, right? So we know what the scholars are thinking now. Now we know what the practitioners are thinking now. We know where the blurry lines are, and we know what we can do actually to, to close the divide, and make it a very cohesive entity. So I want to first of all say that well done to the team of the Organ House series. It's it's been a wonderful one. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I've not gained a lot. Many times, even though I'm somewhere busy, I have really gained a lot from these conversations. And my own complaints is that I still think that this Organ House series is still only opened to people on a need-to-know basis, right? We have to find, well, not we, I'm saying we now because I feel like part of it. Anyway, sorry for saying that, but well, this is Organ House. I think the Organ House should find a way to, to increase the size of the funnel, isn't it? And ensure that this this series, goes beyond. Advertising this series goes beyond people we know in our circles, right? It should really spread. I don't know too much about it, but I know that this is one of the few things or few activities or whatever a series we have that brings everybody together. So one is that Organ House should try and ensure that the notification for this kind of meetings should go beyond familiar platforms, right? It should go beyond familiar platforms. It should be driven. It should be driven in such a way that it's the expectation for every Thursday should be massive. Organ House should not limit the advertisement of this series only to familiar platforms, right? We should do a proper and even a more aggressive publicity for this, because something is happening here. It's an idea, right? And it's will, if the probability of it changing the course of Nigerian music, either from education or practicing, the probability of it being 100% is very high, So please stop looking at it as a pet project, right? Look at it on a larger scale. You have gone 1 year now, so it's no longer a pet project. It's no longer a one-man research. You have done something that you don't want to do. You have involved us now. Now we are going to hold you responsible if this doesn't become bigger than the way it is. So that's one. Number two is that, is it possible to make sure, if this is not a copyrighted thing or something you are trying to put in a discreet way, is it possible to ensure that the YouTube links to these seminars are released almost immediately after? all right, are almost immediately after the series, so that, before, it is easier to quickly watch an organ house series tomorrow than to go and watch 5 that last. It's easier to go and watch 1 hour tomorrow than to go and watch 5 1 hours tomorrow. So if you can find a way to ensure that after after today, immediately put, if you watch all these modern Nigerian, well, all this Afrobeat, and you watch the videos, there's not one slide that stays more than 30 seconds. They keep on changing slides to keep you interested, So put the advertisement in our faces, right? And the activities, the seminar, the series, as long as it's not protected by any copyright and you want to put it out there, put it in our faces, right? Let it not be only people related to MTU or people that knows one lecturer or people that are aware of this. Put it out there such that YouTube algorithm will push it to the top and we can come across it. So that's what I would like to say. Every other thing I would like to say, unfortunately, Dr. Lonotu spoke before me, so now I don't have much to say. So everything he said, I agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All your points are noted. Yeah, but we are going to act on them one by one. Thank you so much. The one is from Professor Ayorinde Samuel. Yeah, which is I quote him. Actually, congratulations on the first year of Organ House Seminar and Concert Series. This is worth celebrating. Sustainability plans are in the right direction. I support Dr. Oluranti's feedback, starting from performance, how to curate performance, infuse more performance components, and also, taking a new turn in terms of turnaround of video editing, how we edit this material and how we get it out for people is also very, very important for us. So we want to hear from you, what are the other things you think we need to take, we need to consider in this process? Or you have anything to say in that regard?
Actually, in defense of the link coming on time, we don't just put up the raw recordings online immediately. We need to do a little editing, just like you said now. And of course, we have a little backlog. All of us are busy and a lot of other things. So in the process, bringing them up immediately will not be as possible as we want to do it now. But of course, we're working on that, and I believe in no distant time, we should be able to get everything done on time so that we can get it online. Actually, that's a very strong point in that some of us in-house, want to follow up on some of the discussion for current work, for something relevant where we want to refer to and all that. So it's important that those videos, those recordings come up on time so that people who will need them can pick up on them or follow up on them and make references like they would like to. So we are going to work on that, just like you said, and I want to believe in no distant time we should be able to have them online as soon as possible. But that's a very good point. Thank you very much, sir.
So any other contributions or suggestions on possible future direction? We are quite open and we would like to hear from you. Do you have anything to say?
To add to what Dr. Oluwati pointed out,
Okay.
I think we should explore inviting performers. Yes, performing musicians, and possibly to, do those that can actually discuss their works and what they do. Because I know many of them, they do such things. And I think last time there was a time we had one of the series handled by Sanibi. He advocated bringing those scholars because that will even attract live audience. And then that will add liveliness to what you are doing.
Even if it's mainly performance in terms of primary concern. There are performance itself is a test that we can invite people to come and respond to. You invite a concert pianist and do 2 pieces, and you invite somebody who has done research in that area to come and respond to it, analyze and explain and put in conversation with that, performance. So definitely we are taking note of all this, and they are not beyond what we can.
Yeah, not too long ago, Mr. Ajayi put up a few series of performance. He was actually the accompanist. Some of our popular pieces, performed
in Nigerian Art Music Project.
Yeah,
of course.
I was so impressed by that work, and if we could just have that version of now having someone analyze the work,
response, we'll invite your response.
So that kind of thing we could also put up here.
Definitely.
Because that's we need to increase our faculty.
Well,
definitely, because that will require much more from us.
That is what dream and vision, does. When you start with 2 people, and the more the more the dream grows, you expand to bring in more people, bring in more people, bring in more people, and that's what it is. So definitely, if you want to expand the workforce, the ideas, the facilities, the infrastructure must also be strengthened. So the challenge is not just on the content at the content level; it's also at the human resource level, infrastructure, even organizational level, managerial level. I agree. Thanks so much, Mr. Olaore. Yes. Also, as you know, we are quite open for advice, like what we are doing today, for instance. So as soon as you notice any, things that okay, this could be done this way. Of course, people have been doing that as well also, but we are just making it open again, that anyone can send us a note. Okay, let's improve this area. Let's do this area. So we are open for all that. I have one question, Mr. Okedaro. Do you want to use the mic, Mr. Okedaro? Do you want to use the mic?
Good afternoon, sir. I was suggesting that if possible, we should invite maybe a popular musician like Davido. Then we try to interrogate them so as to educate our students. Some of us we are lecturer teaching, and when we invite people like that, we interrogate them on this platform, and we can learn from them also. Also, we can even invite some technologists who can construct African musical instruments from Ibadan, from all this local area, then bring them to this platform to come and interrogate them. Then we'll learn from them. I want to suggest, if that is possible, if you can bring in that also into this series of organelles.
Thanks so much, Mr. Akedaro. Thank you so much. Definitely, we are going to fly with your advice and consider them. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So we should bring in, even if talking drama teachers talk on how they construct it.
Yeah.
And then some playing techniques, and we'll learn from them. Because some of those things that happen in our local works, we don't even know how to do it. So when they come up like this, to get the knowledge.
Yes, from this particular session, we are going to go back to the archive, go back to the lab, go back to the drawing board, and also, infuse and make a pragmatic step to, attend to all your suggestions. They are quite beautiful, and I can see prospects in there. Yeah. So can we have Mr. Ayorinde?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and congratulations on 1 year of great achievements. I am one very ardent listener to this program because it improves me a lot. I've learned a lot from a lot of the people that have delivered papers. And then I'm wondering why, now that you're talking about markets, and I'm wondering why this place is a bit scanty. And then my question is, the students of MTU, do they actually join this program, or are they in the room? Because we don't get to see them. I know that a lot of the informations that are being passed out here would benefit the students a lot. So if we are able to capture the MTU students, then we can then go out to other institutions and say, okay, students are also participating in this. In fact, I don't see any reason why we should not have one of the sessions and feature the students. You know, I don't see why we shouldn't have that, because basically, most of the things that we're talking about now, they are the ones that will carry it on. So I think that MTU should give more whatever to this session, allow the students to participate. In fact, maybe let them sit in the audience and ask questions and listen to people. You know, at Muzon, when we started at Muzon School back then, we started something called a master class. It was for the students. You know, we invite people, the students have to benefit from whatever it is that is happening. That's just my brief contribution. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Want to respond to that?
Yeah, I agree with him. Actually, when we started, like I mentioned earlier, we had our students come perform some of the works that was being discussed. A couple of other sessions, we had them in the audience, but now they're on break. Maybe that's why we can't have them now, but subsequently we'll create a forum where they'll actually be more on ground. So that's a challenge, because sometimes when we have our sessions here, they're also in their class. So, but we can work around that and make sure they contribute, they're part of the audience, and they're featured regularly. That's a very good point. Thank you very much, sir.
That is coming at the right time, because this is the end of section. So as you're planning for next section, we have to put it in our timetable. Possibly so time is our seminar series. So that will even help us to have all the lecturers and the students participate, even if not for the whole of the two hours, even as 1 hour. Then when we start into question and answer period, they become another. So I think we plan toward that as we start the new session.
Yes, so can we have Dr. Olaore, please?
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say on the issue of is it called marketing, or I mean getting sensitizing the immediate environment, society, the international community as to what is going on. You know, this point about that Korede brought about. And I want to suggest that why don't you just do the things the way it should be done? There should be a designated personnel. MTU is a big institution. You need to have a communication manager, media, content manager, you know, and that's what the person is hired for. I mean, this is the model I've found in a lot of universities, you know, and they're the ones who deal. I mean, you have one person, and that person's headache is to market the department. That person's headache is to make sure that these programs that we're organizing, even the angels in heaven will know about it, you know, and that's going to be headache. The issue of having our videos uploaded immediately, that shouldn't be an issue. The editing, that would be the job of the person, the designated job, you know, and there are many ways to go about it. It's not necessarily a situation of hiring somebody to do their job. It can even be a graduate assistantship. So these are ways to solve this problem.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a great one. Thank you so much, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful insight. Thank you. Can we have Mr. Korede, please?
Thank you very much once more for giving me the opportunity. And like Dr. Olaore said, actions. Me, I'm an action person. I like actions. I don't have energy for talking and talking and talking. From my own end, I will say this for free, that I have personally rearranged my timetable as where I work, which you know, to fall on a day like this at this time. And I'll be willing to use, because it's a 3 hours lesson, I'll be willing, that's what my plan, I'll be willing to use maybe the first 1 hour of my lesson, to log into this session and let my students watch this before I go into 2 hours. However, however, listening to what Dr. Olinroti just said now, have a point, person. Is it really a big deal if MTU can reach out to other institutions and say that we are doing this and we are doing this, right? And it is free to listen to. Can you organize this into your timetable? Like Ayo said earlier, that we started at Muson with master classes, it doesn't really cost you anything to reach out to institutions around you, and say, you know what, we do this every Thursday. We would like for students to be part of this. This is when we do it. This is when we do it. We would like you to come all the time. I can assure you that many times teachers also don't want to teach or lecturers don't want to teach. It could be their own downtime where their students can hear from other professionals speaking about stuff. And everything that has been discussed in this organ arts series is not one-sided, it's both ways. And like Ayo said, the students are really the ones that will benefit more from what we are saying. You can begin to spark interest in many things. Last week or the other time when when Oretime was talking about the theater, imagine if you had students there attending, it would have sparked some stuff. Imagine if we had students also around when I was talking about embedding technology into music education. So I mean, how did I get into music teaching? Mr. James and Mr. Shinowo, they were very, very influential in pointing me in that direction. Now, if you don't have Mr. Shinowo and Mr. James doing that, and we have organ house that can point people in direction, you see that before you know it, many of the fields, available in music, as it were, will be guided directly with adequate information. People will not just pick anything because it appeals to them. They will pick up stuff from an informed point of view. So I could recommend that if there's no conflict of interest, reach out to institutions. You have friends in the scholarly world, reach out to institutions and tell them that, please, can your students attend this? And they will find a way to put it into their timetable, And that may even force these universities to stop being technophobes. They may now start embracing technology. Imagine you said that Dr. Oronti wants to speak about composition next week. The school will be forced to get a laptop into the amphitheater and get a system there and get a projector and get something. That is where you will begin to ignite them, bringing technology into whatever they begin to do. And you begin to realize that, oh, we learned a lot from Dr. Runoti, even though he's somewhere in Jamaica and we are right here in F1LA. And, you see that apart from reaching out to them to come and listen to this series, most of the things you're talking about here can begin to take shape immediately. So my advice is reach out to institutions around you, tell them what you are doing. Do not isolate yourself or be in isolation. What you are doing is for the greater good, and you really want people to come to come and support the pot. Advertise it and see. You will realize that people will come because there are too many gems. I mean gems, GEMS, being given out on this platform every Thursday, and it's given out to people that already know these things. It's giving out to people that already know these things. It should be going out to people that don't know these things, anyways. So try, please try. Try. I don't know how you're going to figure out the demography of those that don't know these things. At least we can start with students. We know they don't know these things. We can start from there. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go in. We'll definitely work on this. positions and suggestions. We'll take practical actions. Thank you so much. Is that a new one or the
It's a new one.
Okay. Please. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I think also that I think about some months ago when I was struggling to get piano pieces from my students. I finally rushed to Oladele. I said, "You are alive and you compose. Please give me pieces to give to my students so that they can play." And we're like, "Okay, I will oblige you." I personally enjoyed the particular day when we caught Dr. Olaore unawares, and we were speaking about his works, and he had time, to explain to us the reason behind things he was doing. Could it be possible that in future, our living legends should be highlighted more? Yes. Doctor may not want to agree, but me, I think it's a legend. We have many living legends among us. And Sam Ojukwu something just happened to, Papa Sam some weeks ago, and that's the end of it. Nothing. So we have living legends amongst us. Bring them on board. Let them come and give us insight. On what the struggles are. I mean, listen to Dr. Olaore tell you about the struggles while studying. You will understand that there is a lot that goes beyond this. It's not only heavenly gift, and you realize that this our new generation, they look for models. And if models can come on this particular platform and speak directly to them, it will be more impactful than reading about it when the us can really come and talk about it. Imagine the argument about 3 people gave different points about it, and the composer came and gave his own point and cleared the issue right away. It stops you from going back and forth. So let's celebrate more living legends. Let them come and talk about their stuff and see reason behind what they are doing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Let's celebrate our living legends. Thank you. We will definitely, we have noted all the positions and the perspectives. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to check in our YouTube page and follow and make use of the materials for your own, the idea is that to have the materials there for you to explore, advance, in case you want to do research, you want to make comments, you want to teach, you want to perform. The analysis, the narrative are there for all of us. So please visit that spot, that page, and follow us as we advance on this process. Thank you so much. So see you next week. But one more important thing I need to tell all of us or say before we close for the day. We didn't say this earlier for a reason. Like the Bible would say, I don't know if Mr. Corey can help me. My grammar is not too advanced in that area. So, okay, say it is a big masquerade, the most influential, that are also unveiled.
Hence the parade.
Yeah, hence the parade. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this initiative, I'm sure we know, of course, or we might not even know that it's not limited to the organ house or the department of marketing. Of course, the school, the VC, as mentioned earlier, the VC, the person of Professor Elijah Ayorinde has been very supportive. The dean from the administrative board, but we need to let you know or let us know that the main driver of this initiative is the chancellor of the university. I mean, Professor Daniel Olukoya, a general overseer of Mountain of Fire and Miracles. So this is an opportunity for us to thank him for the support and making this kind of space available. I've had a lot even before now from people that, oh, every week we come to that place, we learn new things, we do this, we do that. I must tell you that this is the kind of vision that Chancellor Professor Olukoya has to create intellectual hubs like this, where people come, not just to come and talk, but to create new ideas, to challenge traditions, and to expand the humanities from different angles. He's doing this not only for music, also in sciences, in geology, in computer, in technology. Of course, you know, it's a common knowledge. The music in Nigeria sound landscape today, particularly art music landscape, it has a huge investment and position in it. So we thank him, and this is the kind of vision, you know, he is the one who actually pioneered and sustained this vision. So without him, we won't be here. So, and it's an opportunity also to thank him. Thank you so much, sir, for the support, the encouragement, and every time also challenging us, you know, in the rightful direction. Thank you so much, sir. And also, of course, to Dr. Mrs. Shade Olukoya. Perhaps some of you don't know, the GO and Dr. Mrs. Olukoya and their family actually, on most cases, they attend this seminar also. On most cases, of course, we know about one of the sessions where they actually came up in fully and contributed, just like all of us are contributing today. So that is to tell you that this project is, that, as you have all mentioned and explained today, it goes beyond just academic romanticization or academic romance. No. This is a practical initiative. So it's intentional, not just from our own perspective, as mentioned earlier, but from the visionary of the Mountaintop University and MS Furniture. Thank you so much. So see you next week.